Luna descended from the tower as the sun rose over Earth's eastern horizon, painting the sky in shades of gold and crimson. The dragon Ember walked beside her, his massive form casting a shadow that stretched across entire city blocks. People stepped aside, some in fear, others in wonder as the elf woman moved through the crowded streets toward the military command center. Ember's scales reflected the morning light like liquid silver, and his presence seemed to make the air itself feel charged with ancient power. Kelly was waiting for her at the entrance, alongside a group of Earth's political and military leaders. These were the people who had made decisions for humanity over the past few decades, and now they stood before an alien woman who had saved their entire world from slavery and destruction. Their expressions mixed gratitude with confusion. They did not understand what Luna was or where she had truly come from. The command center was a vast underground facility built deep beneath the city. Screens displayed data from sensors all across Earth and in the surrounding space. The atmosphere was tense but hopeful. The immediate threat had passed, but everyone knew that the universe had noticed Earth now. The galaxy had heard the war drums, and curiosity and hunger would follow in the wake of that announcement. Luna took a seat at the central conference table, and Ember settled himself outside the room, his massive head visible through the thick glass windows. Storm was still in orbit around Earth, keeping watch over the planet's skies. The telepathic bond between all three of them remained strong, allowing Luna to stay aware of everything happening above and around them. A man named George, who served as Earth's chief administrator, leaned forward with intensity in his dark eyes. He asked Luna the first question that everyone wanted answered. He wanted to know where she had come from and why she had chosen to help humanity when the rest of the galaxy had written them off as worthless. Luna took a moment before responding. She had anticipated this question, and she had prepared an answer that these people could understand and accept. She explained that she was part of a larger group of individuals scattered across the galaxy who believed in the potential of young species. She told them that the collective and other organizations had built their power on the foundation of controlling others through fear and desperation. They had learned that species responded predictably when given only two choices: submit or die. But Luna had always been different. She had spent her life studying ancient records and forgotten histories. She had learned that many supposedly primitive species possessed capabilities that the galactic powers had never fully understood. Earth was one of those worlds. The ancient defense grid that had protected the planet came from a civilization that had thrived billions of years before even Luna's people had achieved spaceflight. That civilization had left behind technology that most modern species could not even comprehend. The political leaders asked if Earth could access that technology more fully. Luna nodded slowly. She explained that over the next several months she could help them restore and understand much of what lay dormant beneath their planet. However, there would be a cost. The knowledge that Luna possessed about these systems was valuable, and other powers in the galaxy would want to obtain it through any means necessary. Harboring Luna and her dragons would put Earth on the target list of multiple factions. Kelly spoke up immediately, her voice steady and resolute. She said that Earth had already faced destruction once and survived. She said that humanity would not cower from threats and they would not abandon someone who had saved them. The room fell silent for a moment, and then several other leaders nodded in agreement. The decision was made. Earth would stand with Luna, whatever consequences that might bring. Over the following weeks, Luna began her work in earnest. She led teams of human scientists and engineers through the ancient facilities buried beneath Earth's continents. The technology was breathtaking in its sophistication. The human engineers struggled to understand even the basic principles, but Luna explained patiently, translating ancient science into terms that modern minds could grasp. Ember remained her constant companion during these explorations. The dragon's presence seemed to have a calming effect on the people who worked with Luna. Humans had feared dragons for countless generations, relegating them to mythology and fantasy. Now they worked alongside one, and they discovered that beneath the fearsome exterior lay intelligence and gentleness. Ember observed everything with keen interest, and sometimes Luna would share his observations with the engineers. The dragon often understood structural problems in ways that the humans had not yet considered. Storm returned to Earth after 2 weeks in orbit, landing at a vast facility in the western continent. The second dragon's arrival caused a sensation. Millions of people wanted to see the creatures that had saved their world. Special viewing areas were created, and people came from every nation to witness the dragons. Children stared in amazement at Storm's iridescent scales. Artists began creating paintings and sculptures inspired by the dragon's beauty and power. But not everyone on Earth welcomed Luna's presence. In some regions, religious groups argued that Luna and her dragons were demons sent to deceive humanity. In others, military factions wanted to capture the elf woman and study her, believing that her genetic material and knowledge could be weaponized. These groups operated in secret, planning to move against Luna when the opportunity presented itself. Kelly discovered one such plot during the third week of Luna's stay. A group of humans had infiltrated the ancient facility where Luna was working. They had intended to capture her, but the facility's defenses responded automatically to the threat. The ancient security systems moved with devastating efficiency, sealing chambers and isolating the intruders. No one was killed, but the message was clear. Luna and the facility were protected by technology far beyond human capability. That night, Luna spoke privately with Kelly in a garden beneath the city. They sat on a bench surrounded by flowers, and Ember lay nearby, his eyes reflecting starlight. Luna explained that she had begun to form a connection with Earth in a way she had not anticipated. She had traveled the galaxy for so long, searching for hope and beauty in a universe that often seemed filled only with greed and cruelty. But Earth's people had touched something in her heart. She told Kelly about her own past, about how her world had been conquered when she was just a child. Her people had survived, but they had spent centuries rebuilding their civilization. Luna had dedicated her life to making sure that no other species experienced the devastation her people had endured. That was why she traveled alone, seeking worlds that needed protection, offering help where no one else would. Kelly listened carefully, and then she asked Luna if she intended to stay on Earth permanently, or if this was just a temporary mission. Luna was silent for a long time before answering. She admitted that she did not know. She had never stayed anywhere longer than a few years. She had responsibilities across the galaxy, worlds that depended on her presence and guidance. But Earth was different. Earth had stolen something from her, something precious that she had thought was lost forever. What had Earth stolen from Luna? Kelly asked. Luna looked up at the stars and answered that Earth had given her hope. Real hope. Not the fragile thing she had been clinging to for decades, but a genuine belief that the universe could change, that civilizations could choose kindness over conquest, that beauty could survive in a dark cosmos. In the weeks that followed, Luna worked with Earth's leaders to establish a new alliance. She helped them create communication systems that could reach across the vast distances of space without drawing attention from the collective or other hostile powers. She taught them the basics of interstellar law and diplomacy. She explained how Earth could protect itself if larger forces came to challenge their independence. But most importantly, Luna and her dragons became part of Earth's culture. Children grew up hearing stories of the elf woman who had saved their world. Artists created masterpieces inspired by Ember and Storm. Scientists made incredible discoveries based on the principles that Luna shared with them. The ancient technology began to integrate with human innovation, creating something entirely new. 3 months after Luna's arrival, Earth received its first official delegation from another world in the galaxy. They came from a peaceful species called the Valors, merchants and traders who had heard rumors of the collective's defeat. They were amazed to discover that Earth had not only survived, but had forged an alliance with an elf woman and 2 dragons. The Valors wanted to establish trade relationships and cultural exchanges. This was the beginning of something unprecedented. For the first time in recorded history, Earth would be integrated into the wider galactic community, not as a conquered vassal or a backward colony, but as an independent world with its own strength and resources. Other delegations would follow, some friendly, some cautious, some outright hostile. Luna knew that the coming months and years would be filled with challenges that Earth had never imagined. The planet had always been isolated, developing its own civilization without interference. Now they would need to navigate the complex politics and ancient rivalries of 1,000 different species. There would be opportunities and dangers. 6 months had passed since Luna first descended from her starship onto Earth, and the elf woman had become as much a part of the planet as its mountains and oceans. But change was coming, and it would test everything that Luna and Earth's people had built together. The message arrived on a quiet morning, through the ancient communication array that Luna had helped restore. It came from a being known as the Architect, an entity of considerable power and mystery within the galactic community. The Architect was requesting a meeting with Luna on a neutral space station located halfway between Earth's solar system and the territories controlled by the Collective. The message was brief but carried weight. The Architect wanted to discuss the circumstances surrounding Luna's involvement with Earth and the implications of her actions for galactic stability. Luna knew what this meant. The wider universe was finally paying serious attention to what had happened here. Kelly and the Earth's Council were concerned about the request. They worried that this was a trap, another attempt to capture Luna or gain information about Earth's newfound advantages. But Luna understood the galactic political system better than anyone on Earth. She explained that the Architect was a neutral party, respected across all the major factions. The request was not a threat but rather an official inquiry. Refusing to attend would be seen as an act of hostility and could bring far more serious consequences to Earth than a simple meeting. So Luna made preparations to travel to the station. Ember and Storm protested through their telepathic bond, insisting that they accompany her. But Luna knew that her dragons could not attend this meeting. The appearance of them at a neutral conference would be seen as a display of military force and would escalate tensions. Luna promised them that she would be safe, and she promised to return within a week. Kelly insisted on accompanying Luna to the station as Earth's representative. The human woman had grown into her role as a voice for Earth's interests with remarkable speed. She studied everything that Luna taught her about galactic politics and protocols. Kelly had natural instincts for diplomacy and strategy that reminded Luna of her own people's greatest leaders. The journey to the station took 3 days in Luna's small starship. Kelly spent the time learning more about Luna's past and the broader history of the galaxy. Luna showed her records of countless civilizations, most of them now extinct or subjugated. She explained how the Collective had risen to power by consolidating control over strategic worlds and forming alliances with other aggressive species. But there were other powers in the galaxy that worked against such domination. The Veilers who had recently contacted Earth were part of a loose coalition of traitors and free worlds. There was also the Council of Elder Races, a governing body composed of the oldest known sapient species in the galaxy. The Council maintained a careful neutrality on most issues, but they wielded influence through their vast resources and ancient knowledge. The Architect was one of the Council's primary representatives and enforcers. They had existed for over 2 million years, and had witnessed the rise and fall of countless civilizations. The Architect's role was to maintain balance in the galactic community, preventing any single power from becoming too dominant. When Luna and Kelly docked at the station, they were greeted by a humanoid figure with crystalline skin that reflected light in impossible ways. The Architect's appearance was deliberately androgynous and slightly unsettling to human sensibilities. This was intentional, Luna explained to Kelly. The Architect preferred to maintain distance from other species, conducting most negotiations through formal protocol rather than personal connection. The meeting chamber was vast and empty, except for 3 chairs arranged in a triangle formation. The Architect gestured for Luna and Kelly to sit. The being took the 3rd chair and regarded them both. With eyes that seemed to contain entire universes within their depths, the Architect began by congratulating Luna on her successful defense of Earth. The being explained that they had been monitoring the situation from a distance, curious to see how events would unfold. The Architect had known that the ancient defense system on Earth still functioned. They had known that elf women like Luna existed in the galaxy, but they had not known that Luna would find Earth, or that the combination would result in such a decisive victory over the Collective. The Architect's tone shifted to something more serious. They explained that Luna's actions had created a cascade of consequences that would ripple across the galaxy for years to come. Several major powers were now questioning their own assumptions about young species and their potential. Some factions were discussing increased military spending and exploration, programs aimed at discovering other hidden worlds with valuable ancient technology. This meant that Earth itself had become significantly more valuable and therefore significantly more vulnerable. The Architect warned that Earth could expect visitors in the coming months and years. Some would come with peaceful intentions, but others would not. The planet needed to prepare itself for a level of scrutiny and attention that it had never previously experienced. Kelly asked directly if the architect would provide Earth with protection or official recognition from the Council of Elder Races. The architect responded that such matters were complicated. Earth had not yet proven itself capable of participating in the broader galactic community. They had no established trade networks, no diplomatic relationships beyond their initial contacts with the Velors, and no military forces capable of defending against sophisticated threats. Luna leaned forward and spoke with quiet intensity. She told the architect that Earth had something far more valuable than any of those things. They had demonstrated the capacity for rapid growth and adaptation. They had chosen courage over surrender when faced with overwhelming odds. They had extended trust and welcome to a stranger when many species would have attempted to exploit or capture her. The architect was silent for a long moment. When they finally spoke again, their tone had changed slightly. They explained that Luna's assessment was correct, and more importantly, it was rare. Most civilizations that advanced to space travel did so through conquest and expansion. Earth had advanced through cooperation and community. Such a society was indeed precious in a galaxy often dominated by violence and greed. The architect made an offer. They would bring Earth's situation before the full Council of Elder Races. They would recommend provisional membership status, which would grant Earth limited protections and access to certain trade networks. In exchange, Earth would need to agree to several terms. Earth would maintain a neutral stance in all major galactic conflicts. Earth would commit to advancing knowledge and science for the benefit of all civilizations. And Earth would allow representatives from the Council to establish a permanent embassy on the planet. Kelly glanced toward Luna, uncertain about the final condition. Luna nodded slightly, indicating her approval. Kelly then agreed to the terms on Earth's behalf. Though she understood that she would need to present this to Earth's full government for final ratification, the meeting concluded with the architect providing Luna with data, crystals containing information about proper diplomatic procedures, trade standards, and galactic law. The architect explained that Luna should become Earth's official ambassador, as her credibility was already established, and her understanding of both human and galactic cultures was unique. As Luna and Kelly prepared to depart the station, the architect called to them once more. The being explained that there was one more thing they needed to discuss. The architect had sensed something unusual about Luna's connection to Earth. They had observed patterns in Luna's behavior that suggested she was developing emotional attachments to the planet and its people. The architect wanted to know if Luna intended to remain on Earth permanently. Luna hesitated before responding. She admitted that she was uncertain about her future. She had spent her entire life traveling between worlds, never staying long enough to form deep connections. But Earth had changed something within her. The promise of building something new rather than constantly defending what already existed held tremendous appeal. The architect nodded slowly. They explained that they understood. The being had observed Luna's activities for many years, and they had long suspected that she was searching for something beyond her official mission to protect vulnerable worlds. They believed that Luna had found what she was seeking on Earth. The architect then made a surprising announcement. They explained that the Council of Elder Races had authorized them to offer Luna a position as an official mediator between Earth and the broader galactic community. This would be a formal role with significant resources and authority. Luna would serve as Earth's protector and advisor, while also helping to maintain stability in the wider galaxy. Luna found herself accepting the offer before fully considering all its implications. She realized that this position would allow her to remain on Earth, while also continuing the work that had defined her life across the centuries. She could build something new with Earth's people, while still maintaining her responsibilities to other worlds. The return journey to Earth took on a different significance. Kelly spent the time processing the enormous developments that had just occurred. The first embassy arrived on Earth exactly 3 months after Luna's return from the station. A massive vessel descended through the planet's atmosphere and landed in a specially prepared facility outside the city, where Luna and Kelly had established their main headquarters. The embassy staff consisted of 12 individuals from 6 different species, each one carefully chosen to represent the diversity and interests of the Council of Elder Races. The lead representative was a being named Vex, a tall humanoid figure with deep blue skin and eyes that glowed with soft bioluminescent light. Vex was a diplomat with over 400 years of experience in galactic relations. The Vex arrived with a demeanor of quiet professionalism and genuine curiosity about Earth and its people. The embassy building itself was a marvel of architectural fusion. Vex had worked with human engineers to design a structure that combined ancient Earth aesthetics with advanced galactic technology. The building was partially underground, which pleased Ember and Storm, as it allowed the dragons to move freely through reinforced underground passages. The dragons had become increasingly curious about the visitors arriving on Earth, and they wanted to evaluate each new individual who came to their world. Within weeks of the embassy's establishment, delegations began arriving from across the galactic community. Some came from species friendly to Earth's interests. The Velors brought trade proposals and samples of exotic goods that fascinated human merchants. A peaceful species called the Thessians came to establish cultural exchanges and to study human art and music, which they found remarkably beautiful despite Earth's relative isolation. But not all visitors came with peaceful intentions. A military force representing a faction called the Sovereign Dynasty attempted to establish a base on Earth without permission. They claimed to be offering protective services and wanted to place weapon systems on the planet. Kelly and Luna worked with Vex and the embassy staff to firmly but diplomatically reject the Sovereign Dynasty's presence. The ancient defense systems activated automatically in response to what the systems identified as a hostile military installation, forcing the Sovereign Dynasty to withdraw. This incident made it clear that Earth would need to develop its own military capabilities to maintain independence. Luna began working with Earth's governments to establish a planetary defense force. The humans took to military training with impressive dedication, understanding that their world's survival depended on their ability to protect themselves. Ember and Storm became increasingly involved in Earth's development. The dragons began training human pilots in advanced aerial combat techniques. They demonstrated maneuvers and strategies that would have been impossible for conventional aircraft to execute. The human pilots discovered that when they worked in coordination with the dragons, their effectiveness multiplied exponentially. 6 months into the embassy's presence on Earth, a crisis emerged. A disease began spreading through certain populations of the planet's marine life. The sickness was unlike anything that human biologists had encountered. It spread rapidly, and if it continued unchecked, it could devastate Earth's ocean ecosystems. Luna realized immediately that the disease was not natural. It bore the hallmarks of a biological weapon that she had encountered before, something created by a faction within the collective called the Plague Bringers. This was a direct attack on Earth, a punishment for Luna's defeat of the initial collective invasion force. Kelly brought together a crisis team consisting of human scientists, Vex and the embassy staff, and Luna. Working together, they began a desperate hunt for the source of the infection. Luna's knowledge of collective weapon systems proved invaluable. She explained the biological mechanisms of the disease and how it could be targeted and destroyed. It took 3 weeks of intense work, but they discovered that the disease was being continuously released into the oceans through underwater delivery systems scattered across the planet's continental shelves. These systems had been placed during the initial collective invasion, waiting for activation if the invasion failed. The collective had wanted to ensure that they would punish any world that dared to resist them. Luna, Kelly, and teams of human divers worked to locate and disable the delivery systems. Ember and Storm dove into the deepest oceans to reach installations that human technology could not safely access. The dragons moved through the water with surprising grace despite their massive size. Their presence shocked the deep-sea creatures, but they did not harm any living thing, focused entirely on the task of destroying the delivery systems. By the end of the 4th week, the last delivery system had been neutralized. But the damage was already done. Millions of tons of marine life had been killed by the biological weapon. The ocean ecosystems that had sustained Earth's life for hundreds of millions of years had been severely damaged. Recovery would take years, possibly decades. The discovery of this attack had profound effects on Earth's population. People realized that the war was not truly over, that they would face continued threats from the collective and other hostile forces. But rather than breaking human spirit, the knowledge seemed to strengthen it. People became more united, more determined to protect their world and ensure that no aggressor could ever threaten them again. Luna felt a mixture of guilt and anger. She realized that her arrival on Earth while saving the planet from invasion had also made it a target for the galaxy's darker forces. Vex and the embassy staff held a private meeting with Luna to discuss the implications of the attack. They explained that Luna's concerns were valid but ultimately misplaced. The collective would have discovered and attacked Earth eventually. Luna's intervention had at least ensured that humans would not be slaves or dead. Kelly found Luna standing alone on a high mountain several nights after the crisis ended. The elf woman was staring at the stars with an expression of deep sorrow. Kelly sat beside her without speaking at first. After a long silence, Kelly finally spoke. She told Luna that Earth had made a choice to stand with her and to engage with the broader galactic community. That choice had consequences, both good and bad, but it was Earth's choice to make, and human people did not regret it. Luna turned to Kelly with tears running down her ethereal face. She asked if Kelly truly believed that, or if she was simply trying to make Luna feel less guilty. Kelly responded that she believed it with absolute certainty. Humanity had been given a chance to become something greater than they were before. They had been given the opportunity to grow and to learn from other species. The cost of that opportunity was vigilance and courage. These were things that humans possessed in abundance. Luna realized that Kelly spoke a deeper truth. The attack on Earth had been terrible, but it had not been unexpected. Vex had warned that Earth would face increased scrutiny and hostility. Luna had known this would happen. She had stayed on Earth anyway because she believed in humanity's potential and in the relationships that she had formed here. In the months that followed the biological weapon crisis, Earth's military capabilities expanded rapidly. Human engineers, working with knowledge provided by Luna and the embassy staff, developed new weapons systems and defense technologies. The planet's economy transformed as human industries began producing goods for trade with other galactic species. Universities were established to study advanced sciences, astronomy, and interstellar diplomacy. Ember and Storm became symbols of Earth's connection to the wider universe. Children wore dragon marks on their clothing and drew pictures of the elf woman and her companions. Stories were told of how Luna had sacrificed her peaceful travels to help a species that most of the galaxy had forgotten. Artists created sculptures and paintings depicting the moment when dragons had entered Earth's skies to defend against invasion. Luna found herself transformed as well. She became less a wanderer and more a builder. She spent her days working with Earth's leaders and the embassy staff to create systems and structures that would allow Earth to thrive and grow. She spent her evenings with Kelly, talking about the future and what Earth could become. One evening, as Luna and Kelly walked through the gardens beneath the city, a garden that now bloomed with plants brought from a dozen different worlds, Kelly asked Luna a direct question. Kelly wanted to know if Luna had ever regretted staying on Earth. Luna took Kelly's hand and looked into her eyes. She answered that staying on Earth was the first decision she had made in centuries, where she felt no doubts or second thoughts. She had found something precious here that she had thought was lost to her forever. She had found home. 1 year after Luna's arrival on Earth, the planet celebrated an official recognition ceremony. Leaders from 12 different galactic civilizations attended the event, held in a grand hall that had been specially constructed to accommodate beings of vastly different sizes and environmental needs. The ceremony marked Earth's full acceptance into the broader galactic community and the establishment of formal trade agreements with multiple spacefaring species. Luna stood at the center of the hall, dressed in formal robes that combined elements of her own cultural traditions with designs created by human artists. Ember and Storm stood beside her, their scales polished and gleaming. The dragons wore ceremonial harnesses decorated with jewels and symbols, representing Earth's place in the galactic community. Kelly stood slightly behind Luna, representing humanity's new role as an equal among the stars. The High Chancellor of the Council of Elder Races gave a formal address, recognizing Earth's exceptional growth and development in an extraordinarily short time. The Chancellor praised Luna for her wisdom in guiding Earth's integration into galactic society. The Chancellor also acknowledged humanity's remarkable resilience and adaptability. The speech was broadcast across Earth and transmitted to every major space station and settled world in the known galaxy. After the official ceremony concluded, numerous delegations approached Luna to establish new relationships or to discuss expanded trade opportunities. A merchant lord from the Stellar Concordance offered to help Earth develop mining operations on several moons and asteroids within their solar system. A scientific collective called the Knowledge Keepers proposed joint research programs to study and understand the ancient defense systems that Luna had awakened. But not all conversations were pleasant. Late in the evening, Luna received a private message through secure channels. The message came from someone claiming to represent a hidden faction within the collective that opposed the current leadership's policies of conquest and domination. The sender explained that they had been impressed by Luna's actions and wanted to establish peaceful contact with Earth. Luna brought this message to Kelly, Vex, and the full embassy staff. They debated for hours about whether this contact should be pursued. Some argued it was clearly a trap. Others believed that there truly might be peaceful elements within the collective that wanted to change their civilization's direction. Luna suggested a carefully controlled response. She would attempt to meet with the representative on a neutral station, but under full security protocols and with backup from Vex and Kelly. If the contact proved dangerous, they could retreat. If it proved genuine, it might open new possibilities for peace. The meeting took place 3 weeks later. Luna and Kelly traveled to a small station orbiting a barren moon, accompanied by Vex and 2 additional embassy staff members. The representative of the collective faction was a humanoid creature named Thrace, with pale skin and intelligent eyes that reflected genuine emotion rather than the cold calculation Luna had come to expect from collective soldiers. Thrace explained that there had always been disagreement within the collective about their expansionist policies. A significant minority believed that the collective could grow strong through innovation and peaceful trade rather than through conquest and domination. Thrace's faction had been gathering strength quietly, building support for reform. The defeat of the initial invasion force against Earth had accelerated their plans. Luna listened carefully, analyzing everything Thrace said for signs of deception. But she found herself believing the creature. Thrace spoke with conviction and sincerity. The being explained that the faction wanted to establish peaceful diplomatic relations with Earth and to work toward a gradual transformation of the collective's governing structure. Kelly asked directly if this faction was willing to renounce all claims to Earth and to acknowledge human independence and sovereignty. Thrace agreed immediately, even offering to provide written treaties that could be verified through third-party diplomatic channels. By the end of the meeting, Luna and Kelly had established the foundation for a new relationship between Earth and the peaceful faction within the collective. News of this development spread quickly through the galactic community. It created intense debate among various powers about the possibilities for internal reform within the collective. Some saw it as a genuine opportunity for transformation. Others viewed it as a dangerous precedent that might encourage similar reform movements in their own civilizations. The sovereign dynasty was particularly displeased by these developments. They saw Earth's growing influence and positive relations with multiple factions as a threat to their own power and prestige. The sovereign dynasty began working actively to undermine Earth's position, spreading rumors and disinformation about Luna and the planet's capabilities. 6 months into these diplomatic efforts, Luna discovered that the sovereign dynasty had hired mercenaries to conduct operations against Earth's interests. Multiple cargo vessels trading with Earth's partners were attacked. A research team working on deep space mining operations came under fire from mysterious vessels. Scientists working with the Knowledge Keepers reported that their equipment had been sabotaged. Luna called for an emergency meeting of the full embassy staff and Earth's government leaders. Kelly proposed a strong military response, suggesting that they identify the mercenary bases and attack them directly. But Luna cautioned against such aggressive action. She explained that the sovereign dynasty wanted to provoke Earth into making a military move that would be interpreted as unjustified aggression by the broader galactic community. Instead, Luna suggested a more subtle approach. She worked with Vex to document the mercenary attacks and present evidence to the Council of Elder Races. Luna also personally contacted Thrace and the peaceful faction within the collective, requesting their assistance in identifying the mercenary groups and their financial backers. With coordinated effort from multiple factions, the truth about the sovereign dynasty's involvement was revealed. The Council of Elder Races, presented with irrefutable evidence of deliberate sabotage, took action. The sovereign dynasty was formally censured and subjected to trade sanctions. Their ability to conduct business across the galaxy was severely restricted. This punishment had the effect of strengthening Earth's position while demonstrating that Luna and her allies could outmaneuver even powerful adversaries through intelligence and diplomacy rather than brute force. During this period, Luna spent increasing time with the ancient systems beneath Earth's surface. She had begun to understand more about the original civilization that had built the defense network. These beings had been extraordinarily advanced and had spread their influence across multiple star systems billions of years ago. Luna made a remarkable discovery. The ancient systems contained detailed records of multiple worlds where the original civilization had established facilities and left behind technology. This meant that Earth was not unique. There were other hidden worlds scattered across the galaxy, each one waiting to be discovered and awakened. Luna shared this discovery with the Council of Elder Races through official channels. She suggested that a coordinated effort to locate and study these ancient sites could advance the knowledge of all galactic species. The Council responded enthusiastically, authorizing a research program to explore ancient ruins across known space. This decision created tremendous excitement within the scientific community. Universities offered scholarships to study xenoarchaeology. Multiple research vessels were prepared for expeditions to search for signs of the ancient civilization. The knowledge that humanity had access to information about this vast network of ancient worlds gave Earth considerable prestige and importance within the broader galactic community. One evening, as Luna and Kelly stood on a platform overlooking the ancient facility beneath the city, Storm descended from the sky to land beside them. The dragon had been spending increasing time in the upper atmosphere, studying the planet's weather systems and monitoring space traffic. Storm seemed to have developed a particular fascination with Earth's meteorological phenomena. Kelly remarked that the dragons seemed to have adapted to Earth almost as easily as Luna had. She suggested that perhaps dragons were naturally suited to planetary life, in ways that other spacefaring species were not. Luna responded that she believed the dragons had found something on Earth that matched their essential nature. They were creatures of power and majesty, but also creatures that valued connection and loyalty. Earth's people had offered them both respect and friendship in equal measure. Luna looked at the vast underground facility stretching beneath the city. She thought about all that had been accomplished in the short span of 1 year. A world isolated from the stars had become an important player in galactic affairs. A species written off as irrelevant had proven itself to be remarkable. An elf woman who had spent centuries alone had finally found a place where she belonged completely. She took Kelly's hand and spoke of the future. Luna said that Earth would continue to grow and develop, becoming a beacon of peace and progress in the galaxy. She said that the technologies and knowledge that would be unlocked through the study of ancient sites would transform human civilization. 2 years after Luna's arrival on Earth, the planet had transformed in ways that would have seemed impossible to the previous generation. The ancient defense systems had been fully restored and integrated with human technology to create a comprehensive planetary protection network. Trade vessels from dozens of different species regularly arrived at Earth's spaceports, bringing goods and knowledge from across the galaxy. Universities offered advanced scientific programs taught by visiting scholars from civilizations, centuries or millennia ahead of human development. But perhaps the greatest change was in humanity's perception of themselves and their place in the universe. Humans no longer saw themselves as a primitive species that the galaxy had forgotten. Instead, they understood themselves as a young civilization with tremendous potential, guided and protected by a wise elf woman and her magnificent dragons. Luna had settled into a role that combined the duties of ambassador, military commander, and spiritual leader. She served as the official representative of Earth to the galactic community, while also working with Kelly to ensure that human governments remained strong and independent. The relationship between Luna and Kelly had deepened into something more profound than simple friendship or political partnership. They had become true partners in every sense, working in perfect coordination to guide Earth through its transformation. Ember and Storm had become legendary figures in human culture. They had contributed significantly to Earth's defense capabilities by mentoring military pilots and teaching advanced tactical concepts. But more importantly, they had become symbols of Earth's connection to the ancient past and to the mysteries of the universe. Children studied dragon biology in schools. Artists across the planet created works inspired by the dragon's beauty. The dragons appeared in human mythology and religion, serving as embodiments of wisdom and protection. The research expeditions searching for ancient sites had yielded remarkable discoveries. 3 other worlds with dormant technology similar to Earth's systems had been located and awakened. A 4th site had been discovered in orbit around a star deep in unexplored regions. These discoveries had revolutionized human understanding of galactic history and had opened unprecedented opportunities for scientific advancement. One particular discovery had captured Luna's imagination completely. Deep in the ancient databases on Earth, Luna had found references to a place called the Archive, a repository of knowledge left behind by the original civilization that had spanned dozens of worlds. The archive supposedly contained records and information about thousands of extinct species, advanced sciences that no living civilization had yet mastered, and perhaps most remarkably, the location of other intelligent species that had evolved independently across the galaxy. Luna had brought this discovery to the attention of the Council of Elder Races. The Council had authorized a major expedition to search for the archive, with Luna selected as the expedition leader. The mission would require travel to regions of space that had not been explored by any modern civilization, through space that was far more dangerous than the territories where established trade routes existed. Kelly was asked if she would remain on Earth while Luna led the expedition, or if she would accompany her into unknown danger. Kelly immediately volunteered to go. She explained that Earth needed Luna to return with new knowledge and technologies, but Earth also needed a human representative to witness what would be discovered. Kelly was determined that humans would be recognized as full participants in this great endeavor, rather than simply observers. Luna gathered together a team to lead the expedition. In addition to herself and Kelly, the team included Vex and 2 other experienced diplomats from the embassy. A military commander named Grant, one of Earth's finest officers, was assigned to lead the security contingent. A brilliant scientist named Maria, who had been studying the ancient defense systems, volunteered to document and analyze everything the expedition discovered. Ember and Storm were added to the team immediately. The dragons refused to be left behind and insisted on contributing their unique abilities to the mission. Luna did not protest. She understood that the dragons had come to see themselves as part of something much larger than their own survival or comfort. They were participating in the unveiling of galactic history. The expedition vessel was a marvel of technology, combining human engineering with advanced systems provided by the Council of Elder Races. The ship was capable of traveling faster than any human vessel had ever traveled and carried supplies and equipment needed for extended exploration in uncharted space. The crew numbered 50 individuals from multiple species, each one selected for their expertise and reliability. As the expedition prepared for launch, Luna received a personal message from Thrace and the peaceful faction within the collective. The message expressed support for the expedition and offered to provide additional resources and protection for the journey. This gesture had profound significance. It demonstrated that the reform movement within the collective was gathering sufficient strength and influence to act independently of the collective's central leadership. The expedition launched on a day when all of Earth seemed to pause and watch. The massive vessel rose from the planet's surface, carrying with it the hopes and dreams of billions of humans who believed that one of their own was helping to uncover the greatest mysteries of the universe. The journey to the coordinates indicated in the ancient records took 3 weeks of travel through progressively more remote regions of space. During the journey, Luna and Kelly spent hours studying the historical records and discussing what they might find. Kelly asked Luna if she was afraid of what they might discover. Luna responded honestly that she was terrified. She explained that the archive might contain information that would change everything humanity understood about their place in the cosmos. It might reveal that human civilization was far older or younger than they believed. It might show that countless human civilizations had risen and fallen in regions they had never explored. It might demonstrate that humanity was far less unique than they wanted to believe. But alongside the fear, Luna explained, there was excitement. The opportunity to expand human knowledge by orders of magnitude, to answer questions that philosophers and scientists had posed for millennia, was worth any amount of fear or uncertainty. Ember and Storm remained in constant communication with Luna, their consciousness touching hers through the telepathic bond that connected them. The dragons seemed to sense the magnitude of the expedition. They spent hours in the observation areas of the ship, looking out at the stars and the vast emptiness of space surrounding them. When the expedition finally reached the coordinates of the archive, the entire crew fell silent in awe. Before them floated a structure so vast that it seemed impossible such a thing could exist. The archive was not a single building or station, but rather a collection of interconnected facilities that stretched for thousands of kilometers. It hung suspended in orbit around a dead star, with its own internal sources of power and protection. Luna ordered the ship to halt at a safe distance and to begin detailed scans. The archive appeared to be entirely automated, maintained by systems that had been operating for billions of years without apparent degradation. As the scans progressed, information began flowing into the expedition vessel's computers. The archive was willing to acknowledge Luna's presence and to accept the visitors who had come to access its knowledge. The archive's primary interface manifested as a humanoid holographic figure that resembled the original civilization's appearance. The figure explained that the archive had been waiting for representatives of younger civilizations to discover it. The archive contained historical records, scientific data, and cultural information from thousands of civilizations across multiple galaxies. The figure offered Luna and her expedition unrestricted access to all non-classified materials. The archive explained that the original civilization had created it as a gift to the younger species of the universe, knowing that eventually younger civilizations would reach the level of development necessary to locate and utilize the archive properly. Kelly was the first to articulate what everyone was thinking. She asked if the archive meant that the original civilization had actually created younger species, that they had seeded the universe with life and intelligence. The archive responded affirmatively. The original civilization had indeed begun multiple seeding programs across different regions of space. They had intentionally created conditions for intelligent life to evolve naturally, guided by subtle influences rather than direct creation. The purpose had been to ensure that intelligent life would continue to exist even if the original civilization ultimately faced extinction. This revelation changed everything. It meant that humanity was part of a deliberate cosmic plan extending back billions of years. It meant that the discovery of the archive and Luna's role in that discovery had been orchestrated long before any of them were born. It meant that humanity's potential and importance was not merely their perception, but was recognized by ancients beyond imagining. Luna felt overwhelming emotions washing through her consciousness. She realized that her meeting with Earth had not been coincidence.